Alrighty, I'm back. What's going on, my peeps? Got something a little different for you today. I was going through all your comments and reading them and what you wanted me to do and stuff like that. And my daughter, Leah, some of you know her. You've talked to her in Google Hangouts and stuff like that. She's my God, 9-year-old daughter. They grow up so fast, I don't know where the heck the time goes. But anyways, we were talking last night. She was reading the comments with me, and she asked me, "Daddy, does bad things happen in a restaurant?" And I said, "Yeah." So I thought today, I think I'll share with you my horror stories of kitchens, working in the kitchen, what goes on in the kitchens. RE example, Mr. McMasturbator there, with his whole ice cream ordeal. That stuff is very much alive in restaurants, and I don't want to say it happens more often than we think, but it does. But I just want to do one thing real quick, and we'll get into that, all right? So, I just got home, and I want to take my numbers and see what we're kind of dealing with today. So if you can just bear with me for 1 second. Let's see what my good old diabetes is doing today. And we'll go from there with it, all right? But it won't take more than a second. So hold on. And I'll share it with you. We'll see what we got. That was the other thing that I was kind of thinking last night. Is, do I want to take this cooking course to be healthy and health conscious and things like that? Or do I want to take it to a high-end, no holds barred if you're, shoot. Alrighty, guys. This is what I'm dealing with. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it's up over 600, and that's usually my norm for about noontime. I wake up, it's about 300. I take 22 units of insulin and 2,000 milligrams of metformin. And it's been this way. I was in the ER at 880 with an A1C of 10.9. So I've been battling these numbers for a little while now. The first time that I was diagnosed was probably about 10 years ago. And it was my father's birthday, and we were celebrating it, and I had a hard time seeing it, and he was like, "Well, have you ever checked your numbers?" And I said, "No, I never really have." So he brought me a glucometer, and it said high, and he was like, "Well, I don't know what that means, I've never seen it do that, so maybe the machine's broken, but you may want to go to the doctors and get it checked out." Well, I was talking with my wife, Chrissy, and she said, "Well, let's just go to the ER and double check," because, I was not being able to see. It was bad. So we went to the ER, and they pricked my finger, and their machine went off the chart, which means I think the ERs went up to something like 800 or something like that. So they grabbed me by the arm and hauled me into the back room, drew some blood, and hooked me up to an insulin drip, and came back as 995 or something like that, somewhere in that ballpark. And it was a little scary, so I battled that for a long time. Well, with diet and exercise, which is very true with a diabetic, I was able to get my numbers under control. And for about 5 years, I was medication free. I didn't need to take anything. I monitored it and didn't have to take any medication, or I did check it and see what was going on. But my numbers were fine, and all of a sudden, I started to feel those same symptoms again. I couldn't see, and I'm still having a bitch of a time seeing. I don't dare drive right now, or anything like that. But that's enough about that. So I'm fighting that to get them back under control, and my doctor thinks, because of the last time, they think alcohol may have played a part in it. Because like I said to you earlier, we would hang out after work and drink and stuff like that. So yeah, I did crave into hanging out with my friends and alcohol and stuff like that and having a good time. So alcohol may have played a big factor in that whole thing. So be careful out there. Shoot, what was I gonna say? Mr. Oh, if I butcher your name, I'm so goddamn sorry. Frisbee Man? Frisbee Man. If I got that wrong, I'm terribly sorry. I'm awful with names. Buddy, that shit made me fucking laugh my stones off. Doing a meatloaf and singing meatloafs. I'll do anything for love. You're on, my friend. When we get around to that, I'm shooting you an email letting you know that game's on. So, anyways, thank you all yesterday for all your positive comments and stuff like that. So, anyway, let's get into this shit because you don't want to hear me ramble on about my crap, about my diabetes. So, let's get into this shit. I've worked in the restaurants for 30 years, and I've worked low-end jobs from Burger King all the way up to 4-star Michelin restaurants as sous chefs and things like that. So I kind of seen experiences and the way chefs act. And if you've all ever seen Hell's Kitchen, if you haven't, go see it. And the way Chef Ramsay portrays himself and comes off, that is by no means abnormal. That's actually probably tame compared to what I've seen. I was telling you yesterday that I worked for a gentleman, German Austrian cuisine, Hans Entinger. I love the man. I love him. He formed me into what I am. I learned so much from that man than I did going through school and apprenticeships and things like that, working in hotels. But that man was amazing. But holy son of a gun, did he have a temper on him. It didn't matter if it was a frying pan, a knife. It was coming at you when that man blew. Now, mind you, this was a high-end restaurant up on Killington, Vermont, called Countryman's Pleasure. I know where you're going with the name, and believe me, it lived up to its reputation. Not really, but it was kind of a 20-seat fine dining, reservation-only type of place, and a lot of people in Killington, Vermont, bring their mistresses there and stuff like that. So it's kind of how it got a bad name with Countryman's Pleasure. But anywho, that I saw this man. A waitress comes back to Hans, and we were busting out. This stuff was made from scratch right there on the line. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Nothing but the finest. Waitress comes back and tells Hans, the guy's getting upset. It's been a little while for his food. Hans, he looks down at the tickets and see where he is, and we're working on his order right then and there. And Hans, in his German accent, if he don't like it, he can get the flux out of my fucking restaurant. He can wait. Like everybody fucking else. He can get the flux out of here. Well, go back to business and stuff like that, and he got all of a sudden, he just slammed down his frying pans and goes out into the dining room, grabs the waitress and goes, "Tell me where this table is. Tell me where this gentleman is." Goes up to the table and tells the man to get the fuck out. If he didn't like it, tough shit. Now, mind you, this is not the first time this has happened, and Hans is notorious in the reputation throughout town of having this attitude. And believe me, the wait for the food was well worth it. And if you waited an hour or something like that, trust me, you didn't bitch, because the stuff was dynamite. By no means would I say healthy at all. A diabetic, anybody watching their weight diet or anything like that, get the fuck out. But anyways, one of my first experiences was working for Burger King. And mind you, this was a long time ago. I'm seeing how everybody's nailed me as being 95 fucking years old. I don't even think the continents were formed yet. This is how long ago it was. But I was probably like 18 years old, I think it was. I don't remember, home from school. But I don't really remember all that much of it, but all I do remember was the drive-through. And you could hear through the loudspeaker. They didn't have the headsets then and stuff like that you see today in fast food restaurants. And, you can hear the order come up on the screen or see it. You can hear it being done. So, you get it prepared and off it goes. Well, time went on and I couldn't figure out. People were saying, I want a 10-cent. And I couldn't figure out, and nobody knew what the hell it was. And I never asked or anything like that. And finally, one day, this guy comes up and he goes, I need 2 10-cents. I didn't know. So I go up to the guy in the drive-thru and I'm like, dude, what the hell's a fucking 10-cent? He goes, it's a dime bag. I'm like, what? We sell dime bags of weed through the drive-thru. And I was like, holy shit. All right. Anywho, onward and upward. So that was happening there. My next job was right next door. It's called Beefsteak Charlie's. Now, mind you, this was a long time ago. I think the dinosaurs were becoming extinct at this point in time. If any of you are familiar with the way a kitchen is set up, you've got a grill, you've got fry, you've got saute, you've got an oven, you've got cold sandwiches, hot plates, or things like that. We were working on a line, and this place was busy. This was smack dab in the middle of East Hartford, Connecticut. And back then it was a busy place. There's movie theaters, bowling alleys, great places for people to go off and do things back when people actually did shit. We were balls to the wall that night. Full board of tickets. People we were on a 2.5 hour wait. The dining room was packed, and I think the dining room sat something like 220 people at it. But it was free beer, wine, and sangria, free shrimp salad bar. If any of you people remember this, maybe my older audience remembers it, but from a long time ago. It was called Beefsteak Charlie's. Busy as hell one night. It was hotter than hell. I think the return air wasn't working, and the kitchen got up into somewhere of it was about 115 degrees in there, and it's pretty goddamn hot. Well, anywho, I was working grill that night, and this woman kept sending her steak back, and it's saying it needs to be cooked on a little bit more. Usually, what a person will do in a restaurant on a grill is they'll tend to undercook it a little bit because people don't necessarily know what the hell they're ordering. So they tend to take it down a degree. So if you ordered, say, like well done, we may cook it to like medium well. Send it back. We'll recook. We'll bring it up to temperature for you. Because 99.99% of the time they don't send it back, and that's what they wanted. So like I said, they don't know what the hell they're ordering. But this one woman that night wanted a well done steak. So we sent it out medium well. Comes back, no big deal. Bring it up to well for her. Cut open, make sure, just take a little slit, open it up, make sure that it's all fine. Send it back out. Comes back. Not done enough. Throw it back on the grill. Cook it up some even more. So, this happened about 3 or 4 times. At this point in time, I'm getting fucking pissed. So it comes back. I send it down to the oven guy, and the oven guy puts it in the oven so it'll roast off. I mean, this shit right now was a goddamn hockey puck almost. Sat in the oven for 10 minutes. Sent it back out. Wanted it done more. My fry cook was pissed. Grabs a goddamn steak. Throws it into the fryer-lator. Lets it sit there for about 3 minutes. Now, mind you, this shit had to have been shoe leather or a notch above stainless steel of some sort. Or it broke teeth. It had to have. So it comes out of the fryer later, goes back out. Comes back in. At this point in time, we didn't give a fuck. We took that steak, we threw it on the ground, and now mind you, we were already been there for 7 hours, so you can imagine what that fucking floor looked like. It was rancid. they played stick hockey with the fucking steak. Back and forth from the oven to the fryer later. They just passed it around on the floor, kicked it around, picked it up. Now, mind you, it's got all the shit from it, from the fucking floor, and they throw it back into the fryer later. Let it sit there for 30 seconds, take it out, send it back out. Waitress comes back and goes, the woman wanted to say thank you. That was the best steak she ever had in her life, and she apologizes for being a pain in the ass. But whatever seasoning you put on that steak, she wants the recipe. And by God, did she love it. We just sat there, dropped jaw, and looked at her. Like, what the fuck? So the waitress asked, can we have the recipe? I'm like, no, I can't give you that. That's top secret. That's my own recipe. So I tell her that in order to get that type of seasoning, she needs to come back and stuff like that. But, yeah. But that's a couple of them. I've got a bunch more. And believe me, they get better, especially once I get up into the Killington Grand Resort Hotel. Give you a little taste of it. If you like this, let me know. Give it a like. Leave a comment if you want to hear more. Because I've got a bunch of them. And believe me, this shit does exist out there. And it's pretty scary of what goes on in restaurants and things like that. But let me know if you want to hear more. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think. But kind of a taste. Give you a little heads up if you want to hear about the Killington Grand one. Let's say maggot, inbreeding, brother, sister married. And did I say maggots? I think I did. That's kind of a hold on to your seat, get your popcorn ready. This story is fucked up. But let me know what you think, what you want to hear. And thank you all for all your suggestions, man. That meatloaf one is going to be the fucking bomb, I tell you. The rice pudding one, you got it. Going to do it. Macaroni and cheese, pastas. You all nailed it. Certainly when it comes to comfort foods, that's what I was looking for, and that's what I was kind of thinking of. But maybe we can get into some like exotic pizzas, like buffalo chicken and barbecue chicken. I've got a cheeseburger one that's pretty good. A Big Mac one I can share with you all. But let me know. Until then, let me know what you think, what you want, and I'll be catching up with you guys later. I gotta go figure out these diabetes. Shit. Unfortunately, with these numbers and stuff like that, by the afternoon, I'm pretty wiped out. It takes a beating on me. So, Mr. Hubbard, if you're listening, I wish you the best with your diabetes and your health issues. So, we'll go from there. Let me know what you think. Haggy family. Peace out, my friends. Haggy family, be good. And do what you do best, my friends.